Welcome to the Compassionate Mediation question and answer. Love to know how I can help you best. So in terms of whether it's a personal reason, professional reason, what are you looking for most that I can tailor to your needs right now? So everybody take a deep breath with me, because I know some of you are here because you're having struggles in your relationship. And as you're struggling, you are feeling pressure perhaps from your partner to make a decision. Are you going to stay or you're going to go? Get off the pot. Let me know. I need to know now, which puts a lot of pressure on you to decide, what am I going to do? There's a part of me that is very appreciative that he has done or she has done so much for me. Passionate mediation program is for an individual to use, or a couple, but it can be just one individual, where you can recognize that you don't have to have the answers yet. And you can't have the answers yet because you're not coming from your higher self. You're coming from different parts of you. Meaning, when we're in self, capital S self, we're calm, clear, and connected. You know those moments? Because they're usually just moments. We're not in self very often. We're in what I call parts. And some parts we exile, we push aside. Some parts we manage with, we show the world. And some parts we get extreme with. So a lot of times in a relationship, there's a buildup of things that have hurt us or made us scared or made us angry, but we didn't know how to deal with it. So we pushed it aside and figured it won't matter. I'll just manage. And a lot of us manage by being nice or pleasing or caretaking. And we put other people's needs in front of ours, and we put on what I call a pseudo self, where you look like you're in self, but you're really feeling the hurt, the sadness, the fear underneath. Take a deep breath. So when our managers can't contain those feelings, we act out in different ways. Sometimes we eat too much, drink too much, exercise too much, have an affair, get depressed, get enraged, put up walls around our heart, decide we want to get a divorce or separate or whatever because we've just had it. Deep breath. These parts aren't self. They're all trying to protect us. But when we get to self, we can then make calm, clear, compassionate decisions for our future. And here's how you do that. First of all, you learn what being in self means. And you can get to self by taking a breath. You can get to self by journaling, meditating, praying, going for a walk in nature, doing some work on your parts that have been triggered. So let's use the example of someone who's ambivalent about whether they should stay or go. There's parts that are grateful. There's parts that have had some good times. You may even have children. You may have income. You may have a lot of reasons for staying. And then there are other reasons where you're unhappy or you're not met emotionally, socially, spiritually, where you've been staying in limbo for a long time and didn't want to say anything about it. And now that you're ready to say something about it, you've got other parts that are feeling guilty and responsible and thinking, well, what's wrong with me? Maybe I can make it work. Maybe I don't have to leave. Deep breath. What I want to offer you is a program that you can take it step by step, either alone or with your partner, to make decisions together. I'm Linda Kroll. And several years ago, I wrote the book, Compassionate Mediation, How to Add Passion to Your Marriage or Compassion to Your Divorce. And the reason I wrote that book is because as a IFS therapist, I'm an internal family systems therapist for over 35 years. I'm a mediator and an attorney. And I'm also a Chopra certified teacher of meditation, yoga, and Ayurveda. And many years ago, I went through my own divorce with my own college sweetheart with whom I'd been married for 20 years. And when we were in the courtroom going through the typical adversarial process where he was on one side and I was on the other side, and our lawyers were off talking with the judge, making decisions about our life without us, I told myself there had to be a better way. And then I created one. And what it does, it gives you a framework for talking about everything, even the parts that aren't sure what you want to do, so that you can move forward, coming from your best self, creating a compassionate relationship, exploring your options, learning about your rights and finances. And there is a way to then create the relationship you desire and deserve, even if it's not staying together. But it gives you the tools to learn how to compassionately communicate and talk about everything. So there's a question, is there a way not to feel guilty for your partner leaving you? Well, I'm sure that there are some feelings that need to be healed in terms of whatever you're telling yourself. You might tell yourself that if only you were better or different, he or she wouldn't have left, which may or may not be true. Sometimes there's such a thing as synchronicity, where relationships can go a certain distance, and then when it's time to let go, one or both parties may feel the sadness or the grief or the loss, and it's still time to let go and move on, because the universe will support you. But if you're holding on to something that isn't what you want, there's no room for what you do want to come in. So learning how to let go is part of the process. Grieving is another part of the process. And working with your parts that feel guilty for anything. So again, take a deep breath with me, and I want to do a little work with both of you in terms of the guilt you might be feeling. So if you notice that there are ways that you are triggered by the thought of leaving, by having been left, your guilt, your sadness, your ambivalence, your hurt, your worry, as I'm naming those parts, what's happening to your body? If you check, you'll notice you're getting tight in your chest, in your throat, behind your neck. It just makes tension all around. So put your hands on your abdomen. Let your abdomen expand, and then inhale belly button back to your spine. So we're really going to do this right now. We're going to help with guilt. Inhale abdomen out. Exhale belly button back to your spine. One last time. Inhale all the way down to your abdomen, out. Exhale belly button back to your spine. Now gently close your eyes, and I'm going to lead you on a guided meditation so that you can get a felt sense of what being in self feels like. Okay, so gently close your eyes. And as your feet touch the ground, imagine that they're growing roots to the center of the earth. And as those roots go deeper and wider, you're going to begin to feel very firmly rooted and planted and grounded, like a tree or a mountain, so that whatever swirls around you isn't going to take you off your foundation. And then you're going to invite up from the earth some energy that's very calm and very compassionate. And you bring that energy up through your feet, your legs, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your groin, your stomach, your chest, and into and around your heart with all the feelings that you have there. And then allow that nurturing energy to go up through your throat, behind your jaw, behind your eyes, and your forehead to the crown of your head. And then out the crown of your head, all the way to the sky, nature, higher power, universe, God, what's ever out there. And then invite down some energy that's very calm and very compassionate. And surround yourself with this calm, compassionate energy of self. And then if you would, for just a few moments, send compassion to the parts of you that are tight, that are tense. Send compassion to your thoughts. Send compassion to your feelings. And as you notice all these parts, let these parts notice you, surrounded and supported by this calm, compassionate energy of self. And then what you're going to do for just a few moments is to imagine going through a door into a beautiful scene in nature. The air is perfect, the sun is shining, and you see before you a path that you safely walk to the base of a mountain. And what you're going to do for just a few moments is to go up in self as high up the mountain as you want. So ask all your parts that are feeling guilty if they'll separate. All the parts that are feeling angry and resentful about whatever your partner has or hasn't done. Ask the parts that are judging you for either staying too long or not speaking your truth or whatever you're judging yourself. Ask all those self-critical parts to separate. Ask all the parts that are worried about your children or money, if they'll separate. Ask all your caretaking parts that are worried about how your partner will react, if they'll separate. Ask the parts that are impatient for a resolution to separate. And all the parts that think you have to act now and be clear now, ask those parts to separate. Ask all the parts that have been hurt and sad and felt neglected, if they'll separate too. Ask all your parts that aren't peace to separate for just a few moments while you go up in self as high up the mountain as you want. You can stop along the way or go all the way to the top. And if you're feeling any feeling or thinking any thought that isn't peace, it's just a part that you can ask to wait at the base of a mountain. But wherever you decide to stop on the mountain, just rest and look at the view from up here. You may be aware of another presence, you may not, either way is fine. And if you want, you can put your thumb and forefinger together to anchor this place as a place to come back to, because in just a few moments, you're going to go back down the mountain. But before you do, in your mind's eye, picture your partner at the top of their mountain without all of their parts attached. And as much as you can, send compassion in their direction. So in just a few moments, you're going to go back down the mountain to collect your parts, even if there's a part of you that doesn't want to, because you're going to realize that once you give your own parts the attention they need to unburden the pain from the past, they carry their own wisdom in life. So taking back your parts ever so gently, come back down the mountain, back down the path, back through the doorway, and back to your room.